The auditorium lights were so bright they blurred the faces in front of me into shadows. But I could feel them. 200 people. Watching. Waiting. My fingers trembled slightly as I adjusted the microphone. My name is Sarah Williams. I am 45 years old. A mother of 2. And today, I was valedictorian. This was supposed to be the proudest moment of my life. And then my husband stood up. Not quietly. Not nervously. Confidently. And said something that changed everything. I'm done with this marriage. The crowd gasped. Someone dropped their program. My daughter Isabella's face went white as she sat frozen in her seat. My son's mouth fell open in shock. The university president shifted uncomfortably in his chair behind me. My professors exchanged horrified glances. At first I thought I misheard him. But then the silence hit. Heavy. Unforgiving. Final. A gasp spread across the auditorium like wildfire. Someone dropped their phone. Every head turned. Every camera lifted. Pointing at me. Waiting. Waiting to see me break. Because humiliation is a kind of entertainment people don't admit they enjoy. George stood there like he had just freed himself from something heavy. Like I was something heavy. He thought he was ending my story. But he had no idea. He was about to expose his biggest mistake. You see, my name is Sarah Williams. And for most of my life I was invisible. Not to strangers. To my husband. For 20 years I was just George Williams' wife. Not Sarah Williams. Not someone with dreams. Not someone with potential. Just someone who supported his life. His career. His ego. I cooked. Cleaned. I raised our children. I sacrificed everything quietly. Because that's what I thought love required. But 7 years before that graduation, something inside me broke. And breaking was the best thing that ever happened to me. It started at the kitchen table. Midnight. Bills everywhere. Overdue notices. Final warnings. George walked past me, glanced at my textbooks and laughed. You're still doing that. I didn't answer. You're 38, Sarah, he said. What's the point? He didn't wait for a response. Because in his mind, there wasn't one. That night I cried quietly. Not because he was wrong, but because part of me was afraid he might be right. I enrolled in college anyway. And I never told him how much it meant to me. 'Cause he never asked. I studied at night. After cooking. After cleaning. After being everything for everyone else. My daughter Isabella would sit across from me sometimes. She never said much. She didn't need to. He saw me. And sometimes that was enough to keep going. George never noticed. Or maybe he did. And didn't care. 'Cause to him, I was already finished. But someone else noticed. Someone I never expected. Her name was Mama Ella. She ran a small food stall near campus. She didn't talk much. But she listened. Really listened. And every time I paid I gave her a little extra. Not because I expected anything. But because kindness was the only thing I had left to give. One night she asked me something strange. Why are you kind to me? I didn't know how to answer. So I told her the truth. Because I know what it feels like to be invisible. She never forgot that answer. And neither did I. But one day, she disappeared. Just vanished. No goodbye. No explanation. Only a single envelope. With one sentence inside. Someone noticed. At the time, I had no idea how much that would change my life. And now, 7 years later, my husband stood in front of 200 people, declaring I was nothing, declaring he was done with me. He expected tears. He expected collapse. He expected weakness. Instead, I leaned into the microphone and said 5 words that changed everything. There's something you don't know. And then, she stood up. From the center of the audience. Ella Evans. Not Mama Ella. Not invisible. Not powerless. One night after class, I stopped at a small food stall near campus. The woman there was older. And quiet. Her hands moved with steady precision. The usual, she asked, even though it was only my second time there. Smiled. Yes. I paid for my food and quietly added extra money into her hand. She hesitated. You already paid. I know. She studied my face. Why? Thought about it. Because I knew what it felt like to be unseen. Because kindness was the only currency I had left. 'Cause someone needed to be kind. I don't know, I said finally. She nodded slowly, as if she understood something I didn't. Her name I later learned was Mama Ella. For 3 years I stopped there after class. For 3 years we exchanged small conversations. Nothing dramatic. Nothing life-changing. Just human moments. George never asked where I went. He never asked what I studied. He never asked who I was becoming. He had already decided I wasn't becoming anything. One night I found an envelope in my bag. Inside was a single handwritten sentence. Thank you for your kindness. Someone noticed. No name. No explanation. A week later Mama Ella was gone. Just gone. The corner was empty. Like she had never existed. I told myself it didn't matter. But it did. Because for the first time in years someone had seen me. Months passed. My grades climbed. My confidence followed. Professors began to notice. Opportunities followed. And then everything changed. But George never noticed. Till now. Standing in that auditorium. After announcing to everyone that he was done with me. He expected tears. Collapse. Humiliation. Instead I stood taller. Because he didn't know about Ella Evans. He didn't know that Mama Ella was never just a food vendor. He didn't know she had been watching. He didn't know she had been measuring character. He didn't know she had chosen me. From the center of the auditorium she stood. Elegant, composed, powerful, but one of the most powerful women in the room. And George's face lost all color. Ella Evans walked toward the stage. And everything George believed began to crumble. The rest of the story. Her reveal, the fellowship. George's downfall. The separation. The global opportunities. And the education center. Continues with emotional pacing. Escalating victories. And ultimate closure. Ending with Sarah building a legacy that outlives humiliation. And proves that kindness is never wasted. Ella Evans walked toward the stage. Confident. Unstoppable. She took the microphone. And told everyone the truth. For 3 years. She had disguised herself as a food vendor. Watching. Observing. Learning who people really were. Most people ignored her. Some were cruel. But you. Sarah Williams. She said I treated her with dignity. When nobody was watching. When nobody cared. When there was nothing to gain. And then she announced something nobody expected. She had chosen me. For a global fellowship. Worth $50,000. With international leadership opportunities. The audience erupted. George didn't move. 'Cause for the first time. He realized. He had never known me at all. But I wasn't finished. I told everyone the truth. I had already filed for separation. 3 months earlier. His public rejection. Was too late. Because I had already freed myself. The applause that followed wasn't polite. It was thunder. Because people weren't clapping for my success. They were clapping for my survival. For my courage. For the woman I became. After everyone else decided I was nothing. A year later. I stood on the same street corner where Mama Ella once sold food. Except now. There was a building there. An education center. Built to help women like me. Women who were told they were too late. Too old. Too invisible. George showed up once. He asked if we could talk. Said no. Not with anger. Not with bitterness. Just peace. 'Cause some endings. Are actually beginnings. And the man who once told everyone he was done with me. Was right. He was done with the version of me he could control. But he never met the version of me who didn't need him anymore. Kindness is never wasted. Someone is always watching. And sometimes. The moment someone tries to humiliate you. Is the exact moment your real life begins. Integrity always returns with interest. though rarely in the form we expect. And the people who try to diminish you, they're showing you exactly who to become. Keep going. Keep learning. Keep treating people with dignity, especially when you're invisible. Kindness had noticed. And kindness had returned with interest, beyond anything I could have imagined.